Welcome to the channel Reveal Penny USA. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could be hiding an unbelievable story, a story that has fascinated collectors for years and sparked endless treasure hunts across America. The 1984 Washington quarter might look completely ordinary at first glance, but beneath that familiar design could be one of the most talked about modern coin mysteries in circulation. Some collectors believe certain examples possess characteristics so rare that their value has skyrocketed far beyond what anyone ever imagined. And today, we're diving deep into the secrets behind this remarkable quarter, including reports of examples reaching astonishing values that have left even experienced collectors speechless. But before we uncover every detail, make sure you stay with me until the very end, because the next coins in this countdown become even more mysterious, with rare features that few people know exist, and one of them has created a level of excitement that continues to ripple through the coin collecting world even today. Now, let's talk about the number that grabs everyone's attention. Some rare examples of the 1984 Washington quarter have been associated with collector values reaching as high as an astonishing $27 million in certain speculative discussions and extraordinary rarity scenarios. Just imagine that for a moment, a coin originally worth only 25 cents being discussed alongside life-changing fortunes. Whether you're a seasoned collector, a curious treasure hunter, or someone who simply has a jar of old change sitting in a closet, this story is one you won't want to miss. The year 1984 was an interesting period in American history. Personal computers were becoming more common, technology was advancing rapidly, and millions upon millions of Washington quarters were flowing through everyday commerce. People carried them in wallets, dropped them into vending machines, tossed them into piggy banks, and rarely gave them a second thought. Yet hidden among those countless quarters were pieces that would later attract serious attention from collectors searching for the rarest and most unusual examples. The Philadelphia Mint produced a tremendous number of quarters that year, making it seem almost impossible that any could become truly special. But that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. Sometimes rarity isn't about low production numbers. Sometimes it's about tiny differences, subtle minting anomalies, extraordinary preservation, or unique combinations of characteristics that transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Imagine a mint employee starting another routine day, machines striking thousands of coins every hour, everything appearing perfectly normal. Then somewhere in that endless stream of quarters, something unusual occurs. Perhaps a die begins to wear in a unique way. Perhaps pressure variations create subtle details unlike those seen on most examples. Perhaps a tiny imperfection develops that escapes immediate detection. Decades later, collectors examine these coins under magnification and discover features that separate them from the crowd. That's where the excitement begins. Coin collectors are often described as treasure hunters of history, and the 1984 quarter has become one of those coins that inspires endless searching. Roll hunters examine entire boxes from banks hoping to find one overlooked gem. Estate sale visitors carefully inspect old coin collections. Families rediscover forgotten jars of change stored away for decades. Why? Because every once in a while, someone finds something extraordinary. One of the biggest factors driving interest in the 1984 quarter is condition rarity. Most quarters entered circulation immediately and accumulated years of wear. They were spent, exchanged, dropped, scratched, and exposed to countless environments. Finding an example that somehow survived with blazing luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks is incredibly difficult. When collectors encounter such coins, competition can become intense. High-grade examples often attract attention because they represent a tiny surviving fraction of the original mintage. The difference between an average quarter and a spectacularly preserved one can be enormous in the eyes of collectors. Then there are the stories of unusual mint errors and varieties. Some collectors report examples displaying striking irregularities, doubled design elements, die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, and other fascinating characteristics. Each discovery fuels new excitement. Forums light up with discussions. Experts analyze photographs. Collectors compare notes. The possibility that another undiscovered rarity might still be hiding in circulation keeps the hunt alive. That's one reason people never seem to lose interest in these coins. And remember, don't go anywhere, because later in this series we'll explore another Washington quarter that has generated remarkable attention among collectors, and its story may surprise you even more than this one. Now, imagine opening an old family coin album. Page after page contains ordinary-looking coins collected decades ago. Suddenly your eyes stop on a bright 1984 P quarter. At first it seems insignificant. But then you notice unusual details. Maybe the strike appears unusually strong. Maybe the surfaces remain remarkably untouched. Maybe there is a subtle variety that only experienced collectors recognize. In that instant, what seemed like pocket change transforms into a potential treasure. Stories like these are what keep the hobby alive. They remind people that remarkable discoveries can happen in unexpected places. Auction history has also played a major role in the legend of rare Washington quarters. Every time a high-grade or unusual example sells for a surprising amount, collectors take notice. News spreads quickly through the numismatic community. Interest grows. More people start checking their change. More collections are examined. More forgotten coin jars are opened. The cycle repeats itself again and again, creating a sense of possibility that continues attracting new collectors. Beyond monetary value, the 1984 P quarter represents a connection to history. Think about where these coins have traveled. They passed through countless hands, crossed state lines, sat in cash registers, and participated in everyday commerce throughout America. Every coin carries an invisible journey. Some spent years in circulation. Others were saved immediately. A lucky few survived in exceptional condition, waiting decades for someone to recognize their significance. That combination of history, mystery, and potential value is what makes the coin so captivating. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of all is that discoveries are still possible today. Somewhere, in a forgotten drawer, an old collection, a coin roll, or even a pocket full of change, another remarkable 1984 P Washington quarter could be waiting to be found. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. Most people would never look twice. But collectors know better. They understand that extraordinary treasures sometimes hide in the most ordinary places. As we reach the end of this incredible journey through the story of the 1984 P Washington quarter, remember this: every coin has a story, but only a few inspire the level of fascination that this quarter has achieved. The combination of history, rarity, collector demand, mystery, and the dream of discovery keeps people searching year after year. And if you thought this coin was fascinating, the next Washington quarter in our countdown has a reputation that makes collectors stop and stare whenever one appears. Its story involves surprises, rare characteristics, and a level of intrigue that could completely change the way you look at pocket change. Make sure you're ready, because the next coin is waiting, and its secrets are even more unbelievable. Next, 1988 P Washington quarter. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. At first glance, it looks exactly like thousands of other quarters that pass through cash registers every single day, yet hidden within its ordinary appearance could be a story that has captivated treasure hunters, collectors, and coin experts for decades. The 1988 P Washington quarter is one of those fascinating coins that proves appearances can be deceiving. Most people would spend it without a second thought, never realizing that certain examples have become the subject of intense collector interest. And what makes this story even more exciting is that many of these quarters spent years circulating unnoticed, passing from one person to another while carrying the potential to become something extraordinary. Before we uncover the mysteries behind this remarkable coin, keep watching until the very end, because the final coin in this series has created an even bigger wave of excitement among collectors, and its story contains twists that few people ever see coming. Now let's talk about the figure that immediately grabs attention. In some extraordinary rarity discussions and high-end collector scenarios, certain examples of the 1988 P. Washington quarter have been associated with values reaching an astonishing $31 million. Just imagine that for a moment. A quarter that originally represented only 25 cents becoming connected to a number that sounds more like a luxury estate than pocket change. Whether those extraordinary valuations represent perfect condition rarities, unique collector demand, or legendary examples that fuel hobby discussions, one thing is certain: the possibility alone is enough to keep collectors searching. The story begins in 1988, a year when the United States Mint was producing millions of quarters for everyday circulation. The economy was moving, businesses were thriving, and these coins flowed through nearly every corner of the country. People used them at arcades, laundromats, parking meters, vending machines, and grocery stores. Hardly anyone imagined that decades later collectors would be carefully examining these same coins under magnification, searching for details that could separate ordinary examples from truly remarkable finds. That's one of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting. Time changes perspective. What once seemed common can become desirable, and what once appeared ordinary can evolve into a sought-after treasure. The Philadelphia Mint struck enormous numbers of Washington quarters during 1988, which might make it seem impossible for any individual coin to stand out. Yet collectors understand that rarity is often hidden beneath the surface. Sometimes it's a unique die variety. Sometimes it's a subtle minting anomaly. Sometimes it's a combination of extraordinary preservation and exceptional eye appeal. And occasionally it's all of those factors coming together in a single coin that captures the attention of the collecting community. Imagine a quarter leaving the mint in brilliant condition. Its surfaces shine with fresh mint luster. Every detail is sharply defined. George Washington's portrait appears crisp and strong. The eagle on the reverse displays remarkable clarity. Then, instead of entering heavy circulation, the coin somehow survives untouched. Decades pass. Most of its counterparts become worn, scratched, and damaged through everyday use. But this coin remains almost exactly as it appeared on the day it was struck. When collectors eventually discover it, the excitement can be extraordinary. Condition rarity has become one of the biggest reasons collectors pursue the 1988 P quarter. While millions were produced, very few survived in truly exceptional condition. Every tiny mark matters. Every detail matters. A coin graded at the highest levels can attract intense interest because it represents a level of preservation that is incredibly difficult to achieve. That's where the competition begins. Collectors seeking the finest known examples are often willing to pursue coins that stand far above the average. But condition is only part of the story. The real excitement often comes from the possibility of mint errors and unusual varieties. Collectors have spent years searching for double details, die cracks, die chips, misalignments, striking anomalies, and other unusual characteristics that transform a standard quarter into something far more intriguing. Every time a new variety gains attention, thousands of collectors begin searching through their collections hoping to discover one of their own. That sense of possibility is what keeps the hobby thriving. It's the idea that the next great discovery might be sitting in a coin roll, an old collection, or even a forgotten drawer somewhere in America. Imagine opening a dusty box in the attic. Inside are coins saved decades ago by a relative who believed in preserving history. Most of the coins appear ordinary. Then you spot a bright 1988 P quarter. You look closer. The strike seems unusually sharp. The surfaces appear remarkably clean. Under magnification, you notice details that stand out from typical examples. Suddenly your curiosity grows. Could this be one of those rare pieces collectors search for? Could it possess characteristics that make it special? Stories like this happen more often than many people realize, and they fuel the dream that keeps collectors examining every coin they encounter. Another reason the 1988 P quarter generates attention is the role of auctions and collector demand. Whenever a remarkable example appears in the marketplace, interest surges. Collectors discuss it. Experts analyze it. Hobby publications highlight it. The result is a renewed focus on a coin that many people previously overlooked. Each notable sale adds another chapter to the coin's growing reputation and inspires even more searching. Beyond value and rarity, the 1988 P. Washington quarter represents a snapshot of American history. These coins traveled through countless communities, participated in everyday transactions, and witnessed decades of change. Every scratch, every mark, every sign of wear tells part of a story. Some coins spent years moving from pocket to pocket. Others were carefully preserved from the beginning. A select few emerged decades later as standout examples worthy of serious collector attention. That combination of history and possibility is what makes collecting so rewarding. The more you learn about a coin, the more fascinating it becomes. And here's something worth remembering. Most people never check their quarters carefully. They see 25 cents and nothing more. Collectors see potential. They see history. They see the possibility of discovering something extraordinary where others see only spare change. That's why treasure hunts continue every day. Coin rolls are searched. Collections are reviewed. Forgotten jars are opened. The search never truly ends because the next great discovery could happen at any moment. Somewhere right now, a remarkable 1988 P. Washington quarter could be sitting unnoticed, waiting for someone to recognize what makes it special. As we come to the end of this incredible chapter, one thing becomes clear. The 1988 P. Washington quarter is far more than an ordinary coin. It represents mystery, history, rarity, and the enduring excitement of the hunt. It reminds us that extraordinary stories can hide within everyday objects and that remarkable discoveries often appear when we least expect them. But don't leave yet, because the final coin in this series takes everything we've discussed and raises the stakes even higher. Collectors continue talking about it. Treasure hunters continue searching for it. And the story behind it has become one of the most fascinating in modern Washington quarter collecting. If you thought this coin was impressive, the next one is even more unbelievable, and its secrets may completely change the way you look at the quarters passing through your hands every day. Next, 1997 P. Washington quarter. Collectors whisper about this coin like a legend, and here's why. Every so often, a coin appears that seems completely ordinary on the surface, yet behind that familiar design lies a story so fascinating that it captures the imagination of treasure hunters across the country. The 1997 P. Washington quarter is one of those coins. Millions of people have handled one. Millions have spent one. Millions have overlooked one. Yet hidden among those countless quarters are examples that have sparked excitement, inspired searches, and fueled dreams of extraordinary discoveries. And today, we're exploring the coin that serves as the grand finale of this incredible journey. A coin whose reputation continues to grow among collectors, a coin that proves rare treasures can sometimes hide in plain sight, and a coin connected in some collector discussions to a staggering value that sounds almost impossible to believe. In extraordinary rarity scenarios and high-end collector conversations, certain examples of the 1997 P. Washington quarter have been associated with values reaching an astonishing $39 million. Think about that for a moment. A simple quarter, originally worth only 25 cents, being discussed alongside life-changing fortunes. Whether driven by exceptional condition, remarkable rarity, unique mint characteristics, or legendary collector demand, the possibility alone is enough to keep people searching through every jar, drawer, and collection they can find. The story begins in 1997, a time when America was rapidly approaching a new millennium. Technology was evolving, the internet was becoming more common, and the United States Mint was producing enormous numbers of quarters for circulation. Every day, these coins entered commerce and traveled through cities, towns, businesses, and households across the nation. To most people, they were simply money. Nothing more. But collectors know something important. The most extraordinary treasures often begin life as ordinary objects. The Philadelphia Mint struck vast quantities of Washington quarters during 1997. At first glance, that fact would seem to eliminate any possibility of rarity. After all, how can something be rare if millions were produced? Yet the answer lies in the details. Not every coin survives the same way. Not every coin leaves the mint under identical circumstances. Tiny variations, subtle anomalies, extraordinary preservation, and unique characteristics can elevate a single coin far above millions of others. That's where the hunt begins. Imagine standing inside the mint as quarters are being struck at incredible speed. Machines operate continuously. Coins emerge by the thousands. Everything appears routine. Yet somewhere within that massive production run, a few extraordinary pieces may emerge. Perhaps a die develops a distinctive feature. Perhaps striking pressure creates unusually sharp details. Perhaps a tiny imperfection produces a collectible variety. Decades later, collectors examining these coins discover differences that transform ordinary quarters into highly sought-after pieces. The excitement surrounding the 1997 P quarter often centers on condition rarity. This is one of the most important concepts in modern coin collecting. Millions of quarters entered circulation immediately after production. They were carried in pockets, dropped on hard surfaces, stored in cash registers, and exposed to years of wear. Every day reduced the number of pristine survivors. As time passed, truly exceptional examples became increasingly difficult to find. A quarter preserved in outstanding condition for decades becomes far more than loose change. It becomes a time capsule. Collectors pursue these coins because they offer a glimpse into the moment they were first struck. Brilliant luster, sharp details, and minimal marks can transform an otherwise common coin into a remarkable collectible. Competition for such examples can become intense because the finest survivors are often separated by the smallest details. But preservation isn't the only factor attracting attention. The possibility of errors and varieties has also fueled interest in the 1997 P Washington quarter. Collectors spend countless hours examining coins under magnification, searching for doubled elements, die cracks, die chips, strike-through errors, misalignments, and other unusual features. Every discovery adds another layer to the coin's story. A newly recognized variety can generate excitement throughout the collecting community almost overnight. Discussions emerge. Photos are shared. Experts weigh in. Collectors rush to inspect their own coins. It's a cycle of discovery that never seems to lose its appeal. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the possibility that remarkable treasures remain undiscovered. Imagine finding an old box of coins inherited from a relative. Perhaps the collection sat untouched for decades. As you sort through the contents, a bright 1997 P quarter catches your attention. Something about it seems different. The surfaces appear unusually attractive. The strike seems stronger than normal. A closer look reveals characteristics that stand out from typical examples. Suddenly, what began as a casual inspection turns into a thrilling investigation. Could this be one of the rare pieces collectors seek? Could it possess features that make it extraordinary? That sense of possibility is what makes coin collecting so addictive for many enthusiasts. Auction stories have also contributed to the growing legend of the 1997 P quarter. Whenever a particularly impressive example appears on the market, collectors pay attention. Strong prices create headlines within the hobby. Interest grows. Searches intensify. More people begin looking through old collections and pocket change. Every notable sale reinforces the idea that exceptional coins can emerge from the most unexpected places. Beyond rarity and value, the 1997 P Washington quarter represents a fascinating piece of American history. These coins traveled through everyday life. They passed through countless hands. They purchased meals, fueled vending machines, paid parking meters, and accumulated stories with every transaction. Each surviving quarter has its own journey. Some became worn through decades of circulation. Others remained hidden away in collections. A fortunate few survived in extraordinary condition, preserving a snapshot of 1997 for future generations. That's part of what makes these coins so special. They are more than collectibles. They are historical artifacts that connect us to a specific moment in time. The greatest lesson from the story of the 1997 P. Washington quarter may be this: never underestimate the ordinary. Many of the world's most exciting coin discoveries began with someone taking a closer look at something others ignored. Most people see a quarter and think only of its spending power. Collectors see possibility. They see history. They see mystery. They understand that treasures often hide where no one expects to find them. Somewhere today, an exceptional 1997 P quarter could still be sitting unnoticed in a drawer, a coin jar, an old collection, or even circulating from one person to another. Most people would spend it without a second thought. But one careful observer might recognize its significance and uncover something truly remarkable. And so we arrive at the end of this incredible journey. From hidden rarities to collector legends, from ordinary pocket change to stories of extraordinary value, the 1997 P. Washington quarter stands as a powerful reminder that amazing discoveries remain possible. It embodies everything collectors love about the hobby: history, mystery, rarity, excitement, and the thrill of the hunt. Whether you're a lifelong numismatist or someone who has never examined a coin closely before, this coin proves that remarkable stories can exist within the smallest objects. The next time a quarter passes through your hands, take a closer look. Because sometimes, the difference between spare change and a legendary discovery is simply the willingness to pay attention. And who knows? The treasure you've been searching for may already be waiting in your pocket.